Good afternoon, I'm Jeff. I'm a Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 311 South Grant Street here in Newburgh. We're located up on the rooftop going through the 4-inch vent. This is ABS here at this point. Looks like it's switching over to cast iron immediately upon access. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We currently have water running. We'll get going here in just a moment once we get this camera lens all cleaned off here. We'll zero the camera counter right here at the base of the vent. We'll refer to the base of the vent as the point of access. Here we go. And we'll keep the camera moving very quickly here till we get out to the main. Once this thing drops to the bottom here, it looks like it's switching back to ABS, at least for a moment there, and then it's hard to tell as it's underwater. We'll have a better picture on the way out when it's all drained. We've got a bathtub and a sink running here. There's quite a lot of water moving through the line. That looks like where we've got the sink drain tying in there. And then it looks like it's switched back to ABS plastic here. That's kind of got a few different styles of pipe. And then it just switched to clay pipe here a second ago. At least at this point, possibly. I think it transitioned just prior to the standing water here in the way. We definitely have roots coming through here at 24 feet. We just went past those. This is one of those videos you're going to have to wait till the report comes out. I'm up here on the roof. It's 100 degrees outside, and the light glare on my camera is terrible. I'm going to do my best here to point stuff out, but I will have to do some writing up when I get home where I'm able to review the video. Got an offset joint there. And it appears this thing has been spot repaired as best as I can tell. Like it keeps going back and forth between two different types of pipe. But right here, the camera is not able to go any further here at 42 feet. It looks like it's hit the lip of a joint, and it just will not pop over the top of that. I'm going to locate the camera head here, and then I'll let it drain out completely before rolling back. Okay, I located the camera head successfully here. You can see now what the camera's running into. That thing there is taller than the camera lens, or the camera head itself. That's why the camera's stopping up here. This is right out basically in front of the front porch area, the concrete porch. I marked that with a white X there. And we've got about a 1-inch offset there, which I do recommend correcting that. That's plenty of offset there to catch debris as it comes down the line. It's causing a standing water in the pipe here. Looks like we may have a clean out tying in right here. I'm going to locate this and see if I can dig it up. It's going to give us a better picture of everything. Alright, I found the external clean out here. It's kind of a tricky one. There's really no good way to follow the line out. The entire thing's buried in the crawl space. Anyway, I'm glad we found this. We're going to move down there and scope the line through that. It's going to be a much easier sewer scope, easier to see everything. Now, I'm not loving how this joint looks here. This actually looks broken here. It looks like the bottom of the pipe dropped out there. Up there at the top of the pipe, there actually might be a hole there. There's so much junk collected over it. You can see that flap of stuff hanging off the top of the pipe there. Got roots here. With the amount of issues that are going on with this line already, up to that point, I would recommend an update to what the stuff that we have scoped here already. We've got standing water right here we just went through. There, parts and pieces of it have been spot repaired, it looks like. You've got plastic and cast iron and plastic and cast iron. It just goes back and forth. And some of it's still in decent shape. Yeah, these lines just get to a point where they're I call them Franken lines, where they've been spot repaired so many times that you just get to a point where the whole thing just needs to be updated all at once. So you don't have bits and pieces that are 100 years old that are continue to fail. Now we're just about back to the vent here, and we do have standing water at the base of the vent. Without being able to see the plumbing configuration downstairs, though, I can't tell if we've got anything dumping directly into that standing water there. If nothing is, especially solid waste like a toilet, that little bit of standing water there is not a big concern. It's just, if it's just like a sink drain draining into there, that's not really going to affect things hardly at all. Standing water becomes a much bigger issue when you've got solids going through the line. Anyhow, we're going to move down below here and scope this thing forwards and backwards from the clean out. Be a little easier to see everything, at least for me will anyway, out here in the sun. Alright, if you're down on the ground here, the 4-inch ABS clean out is our point of access. That X right there is where that offset joint was at. And unfortunately, this is a one-way clean out, so it's only going to let us go out towards the street here. I'm hoping this will let us pop over the top of this thing. And we do have water running again here. Got more roots. Right there to 15 deep. And you got a pretty separated joint there as well. That thing's pulled apart by almost 2 inches there, especially at the top. That does appear to be opened up to the ground there. Now when we start finding these issues throughout the line, although portions of it are working, you get to a point where you just need to do a full update to it so this stuff doesn't continue to happen. I realize that ends up costing a bit more, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's actually more cost effective to do the whole thing at once rather than to spot repair it over and over again. That might just be a big long cobweb stretched across the top there. It's thick enough it looks like a root. This spot right here, some of that junk pouring into the pipe there, that is dirt from the outside. That joint is opened up to the ground. That's what that stuff is there coming in. And now we're in concrete pipe. And then here is the main lateral connection at 47 feet from this point of access. Now in total the line's right around 85, 90 feet long. Alright, located the camera head successfully. The line goes out to the main on West 4th. Line comes out the front of the house, it looks like, and then turns and kind of parallels the front of the home and heads out to West 4th. The pipe is still draining. We're going to give it just a moment here. Right here is where it switches from cast iron over to clay pipe. It appears to be 4-inch in diameter all the way through, as best as I can tell. Anyways, right here I'm going to put a marking down. That joint there is pulled apart quite a lot there. Okay, located the camera head here. We're actually out into the street. In general, the city of Newburgh usually takes responsibility at the right-of-way, which is generally the sidewalk area. Now, you'd have to forward the video onto them, see how they want to go about that. We have another pretty good offset joint right here as well. Part of the problem here is that whoever installed this thing just kept going back and forth between pipe materials. If it remained the same, you probably wouldn't end up with some of these offsets here. Alright, this spot here is within the, there's a planter box that's up against the street curb out here, lining West 4th. It's right in amongst that. I put a white X in there as well. I'm having a little harder time getting the depth there. I'm getting it right around 3 foot 10 inches, which makes sense with the build up there of that planter box. It's a minor standing water there, nothing too crazy. And that in the top of the pipe there does appear to be a hole. If you look straight up there, you can see that. It's kind of a tough one to tell, but we have that as well as a root intrusion coming through here. I'm going to park it right about here. Okay, right here at about 14 feet, we do have, again, that hole in the top of the pipe as well as a root intrusion. I've got that marked with a white line for about 2 feet 8 inches deep there. Now, all my paint markings currently are starting at the clean out. Because of the sun glare on the roof, I'm going to have to review the rest of it at home, otherwise I won't be able to know what the heck I'm even painting out here. But this is our offset right in front of the clean out. Okay, so anyway, here's our clean out here. We went out about 46 feet to the main lateral, and then from the vent we had about a 44-foot run from the bottom of the vent out to this point here. So again, I'm going to go review the video that's basically from this point back to the home. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have paint markings down here, but it's only 2.5 feet deep. It's a very easy line, and when you're working with depths like this, This is the ideal situation to start doing full line replacements. You're not having to trench down 6-7 feet deep. That's much cheaper to deal with a line like this than it is one that's extremely deep. But I do know that from the video, I believe we have at least another root intrusion going back that direction towards the house. So more than likely, I'm going to end up recommending a full replacement from at least the foundation out to the end of responsibility, which is usually, again, at the right-of-way. So you've got like 3 or 4 different issues from this point here at the cleanout out to the street curb area. So you don't have a whole lot of pipe left before you get back to the house here, and I believe that we also have some issues going back that way. So that's more than likely what's going to end up on the report. There is a full replacement. But anyway, from this cleanout out to the curb, I do recommend a full line replacement due to the offset, the hole in the pipe, the root intrusion, and then a separated joint right out in that planter box area by the curb. And that's ranging from about 2.5 feet deep here by the cleanout out to about 3 feet 10 inches deep once you get to that planter box area by the curb.